Well, welcome to our first solo episode. Listen, this is going to be fun. Here's the deal. I feel so fortunate. We feel so fortunate to have been blessed with such incredible guests on Game Changers. And those conversations are fantastic. And to be able to share them with you is huge. And so I wanted to add in these solo episodes because here's why. Often I'm on the road at keynotes and people might say to me, God, Molly, I wish you would share a little bit more. And here's the deal. I had the pleasure of interviewing Holly Rowe. And of course, she's a sideline commentator on TV covering sports. And she said something that really landed with me. It stuck with me. She said, your viewers should always remember the shot, the moment, the story, but not who told them. And so I've at some level always pushed back at sharing too much because in service of really these incredible guests who I think you're tuning in to hear from. But what I'm hearing is, gosh, Molly, share a little bit more. Why are you so private? I'm like, I'm not. I want to be and share successes, failures, challenges, things that I'm thinking about, reading about, learning about. And so that's what the intent here is for me to have an opportunity to share some things. And so here's what you can expect. These are going to be a little bit shorter. As I said, they're going to be things that have been, I've had the opportunity to be exposed to as of late. Things that I think maybe you're worried about, thinking about. Challenges maybe that you're having, be it as a leader or as on a team. And I want to hear from you as you listen to these, hopefully. What do you want more of, less of? As I said, absolutely nothing is off limits. And our regular episodes aren't going away at all. This is just in addition to. And so I plan to sort of lean into various topics throughout the alternating weeks when we're dropping the guest episodes. So hit me up on Instagram. Email me at hello@mollyfletcher.com. Love getting things that you want me to talk more about, dig into, share. I want these to be a place that I can get to know you better and that you can get to know me better. Things that I've done well, but certainly things that I've messed up as a platform, a place that hopefully you can learn and grow from. That's what this is all about. So welcome. This is going to be fun. But here's really where I want to dig into and start. This one is something that I am remarkably passionate about right now, and something that I think is really important for us to keep front and center, something that I personally found myself later in my life, later in my career, understanding the difference between and the significance of the difference between, which is the difference between achievement and fulfillment. Some of you might know for almost 20 years, I was a sports agent where the world sees all these big moments where athletes have success, hoist trophies, huge contracts, Hall of Fame inductions, Cy Youngs, Gold Gloves, winning majors, all these moments of achievement. But what I found to be candidly more important is the ability to recognize that what, in fact, I believe we're really all chasing is who we're becoming in the pursuit of that achievement. Because here's the deal. If all we're doing is chasing an achievement, an outcome, the hoisting of a trophy, a big contract, a Hall of Fame induction, whatever it is, if that's all we're chasing, the promotion, the corner office, the new car, the next big deal, if in business, selling our company, if that is the only thing we're focused on, guess what? We're missing what I believe, in fact, we actually really want most, which is to ensure that we're becoming the person that we want to become in pursuit of our goals. In other words, I think we want to stay laser focused on who we're becoming, not necessarily what we're achieving. Now, I think goals are fantastic, But I think what it's all about is staying focused on the growth more than the goal. So I want to dig into that a little bit. I'm sure many of you have seen people in the world who chase achievement. And here's what I know without a shadow of a doubt. That unless they are pairing that journey, that chase, with something that aligns with their core values, with who they want to become, with the people in their lives that matter most, with the legacy that they want to leave, with the relationships in their lives that matter most, I think they run the risk of being sorely disappointed. And here's the thing. It doesn't happen on purpose. In other words, I think oftentimes we can chase achievement because we're goal-oriented. We want to get better. You're probably listening to this podcast because you're the kind of person that's curious. You want to grow. You want to get better. You want to contribute to your team if you're a leader, or the people that you work with, or your family or your kids. You want to do more of that and do it better. And what I have found that's incredibly important is I, for example, am an Enneagram 3. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Enneagram, but the Enneagram, I think, is one of the best personality assessments out there. And an Enneagram 3 is defined as an achiever. And so for me, walking the tightrope of being goal-oriented, being in this pursuit of getting better, and ensuring that it's aligned with my deepest values, with the person and the legacy that I want to leave, I can get off track because I can get so laser focused on the next achievement, the next moment where, sorry guys, I can get so laser focused on achieving that I really don't take time to celebrate, to appreciate maybe enough the people around me that help me do that. And I've seen that in others. And I've seen if we don't have enough people around us that help keep us in check. And for me, as an achiever, I could have gone wildly off course if it wasn't for my husband, my 3 incredible kids, my mom and dad, my brothers. The truth is, they have been and continue to be these bumper pads that help me come up and out of this achiever mindset and stay rooted in what, in fact, I know that I really want most, which is to stay deeply connected to the people that I work with, the people that I lead, but even more importantly, our 3 girls, my husband, our kids, my brothers, my parents, people that I literally talk to every single day. But so this is personally really important to me and something that has been a challenge for me. And had I not had enough people sort of slap me upside the head from time to time and wake me up, I probably would have jammed this up. There were so many times when I remember my parents flew down to Atlanta one time, and I was early in my career, and we sat down to have lunch. I was so excited. I mean, my parents are my idols. 52 years old, I still give them credit for pretty much everything, and I'm grateful for the fact that I get to talk to them still every day. And so they sit down at lunch, and I'm probably 24, 25, and we're having this just awesome. I'm so excited, right? They've come to Atlanta, the city that I've driven down to with no job, $2,000 trying to find my way, and they sit down at this cool table, and I'm taking them to kind of this outdoor cool spot in Atlanta for lunch, and the whole time at lunch, my phone's ringing with athletes calling me, my clients. And I take every single call, every single one. And at like the 3rd or 4th call, my mom looks at me and says, "What do they all want?" And I said, "Oh, Mom," and I'm telling her, I'm like, "Oh, this guy thinks he's getting traded. This guy thinks he's getting called up." At the time, it was mostly basketball coaches and baseball players. And But I was delivering this to her like I was feeding the hungry. And I mean, she sort of looked at me almost sort of a little bit perplexed. The truth is, I probably spent 10 minutes of the hour at lunch at the table with them and the rest of the time on the phone with my clients. And those were the moments, though, when she would pull back and look at me and say, you know, Molly, the world doesn't revolve around sports. Or, Molly, don't forget. I remember one time when my girls were really young, she looked at me one time when I was calling her excited, traveling, going to all these cool places. And I called her to tell her what I'd been doing and, you know, flying and meeting clients and all this stuff. And she said to me, how are the girls? How are the girls? The girls, my daughters were 6 and 7 maybe at the time. And I share that only because she would pull me back from this achievement chase, this race that I find myself in as an Enneagram 3 sometimes to really dialing into people, relationships, and really the things that are rooted in fundamentally what matters most to me. So I share that only because we're all showing up in the world through a different lens. For me, as an Enneagram 3, I love the journey of getting better, of helping other people get better. That is a mission that I'm on. And it can get easy to just keep going after, clipping the chains, going after the next thing without pulling back and recognizing what it's really all for, what it's really all about. So I would just encourage you to pull back and consider that because it gets easy in a busy world. We live in a very busy world with a lot of demands that's ever changing. Stuff is coming at all of you constantly. Being present, focusing on the legacy that we want to leave, being present with what and who we want to become is imperative. So I want to leave you with a tactic or maybe something to reflect on. Something that one time I was with a girlfriend of mine and we were out on a boat and she said to me, you know, Molly, I just got this promotion. And I'm like, that's awesome. And she goes, yeah, but they're not giving me a raise for like 6 months because of the way our fiscal year works. And I said, cool. And she goes, yeah, I'm going to be traveling a lot more internationally. And then she sort of kept going. She goes, look. And she sort of pointed to her husband. He's been gaining weight. And she said, I got to tell you, though, since this promotion, and I feel a little bit more disconnected from my boys and her kids. And she sort of kept going, right? And I finally sort of paused and looked at her and I said, wow. I said, what is all of this for? And she goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, the promotion. And it sounds like you're feeling disconnected from your husband. He's gaining weight. You're not present at some level. She had shared earlier, you're traveling more. You're disconnected from your kids. And I'm summarizing at some level, but I said, what is it? What's it all for? What are you chasing? And she looked at me and said, what the hell kind of question is that? That's crazy. What do you mean? I said, that's what I mean. Like, what's it all for? And so we've spent and continue to a lot of time working to unpack that a bit. And so I would just challenge you to consider something that I think is important for all of us to consider, which is what are we chasing and why? And do you like the person that you're becoming in the pursuit? Do you like the person that you're becoming in the pursuit of And do you like the person that you're becoming in that pursuit? And if the answer is yes, if it's aligned with the legacy that you want to leave, it's aligned with what you want on your tombstone. I know that's a little heavy, but if it's aligned with all that, awesome. But if it's not, I would challenge you to deeply consider your core values, your passion, your purpose, the legacy that you want to leave. I would challenge you, if the answer is no, it's a really solid opportunity to pull back and reflect. For me personally, I'd written a couple books. I'd been a sports agent for almost 15, 16 years. And I'd written a couple books and I started speaking and I was working all the time, 24/7, 3 young girls. And I remember kind of finding myself in this pursuit of the next achievement, signing the next player, the next contract. And then I remember thinking, what do I want my legacy to be? Like, I had started speaking a little bit and loved it. I loved writing books. And I remember pulling back and thinking, wow, I mean, do I want my legacy to be that I negotiated $1 billion in contracts, $2 billion in contracts? Do I want my legacy to be that I represented hundreds, 500 players? What do I want it to be? And that, in fact, was in part what was the impetus around me stepping away from that space, a space that I loved deeply, but into a space that was more aligned with the marriage of achieving with the alignment of fulfillment. It was more aligned with the legacy I wanted to leave. It was more aligned with who I was becoming and what in fact fulfilled me, what I felt like I was most uniquely positioned to do and to serve and to give back to others with. So reflect on those questions, if you would. What are you chasing and why? And why? And do you like the person that you're becoming in that pursuit? And then consider the answers to those questions. Listen, these solo episodes are going to be so fun. We're going to go deep. We're going to talk about absolutely anything and everything. The truth is, I want to be more vulnerable and share things that I think I've spent so much of my last decade talking about so many of the incredible athletes and coaches that I've worked with and so many of the things in that space. And I will always continue to do that. But I also think I'm getting more people saying, well, what do you think about this? Or why did you do this? Or how do you deal with this challenge? And then what really got me was the other day at a keynote, this guy says, why don't you talk more on your podcast? And I'm like, dude, because it's not about me. It's about the guest. And, months ago, a woman said to me, why, it's weird. Like you're so like when I'm with you and I'm talking to you, there's so much there, but like, why are you so private? And I'm like, dude, I'm not. I don't mean to be. So that's what I hope this unpacks a bit. But again, it is in service of you, not me. So please don't hesitate. DM me on Instagram. Hit me up at hello@MollyFletcher. I'm here for you. So don't hesitate to flip anything my way and I will peel those back. But expect more of these. They'll be a little shorter, a little tighter. But heck, who knows? If it's an incredible topic and I want to go, maybe they'll be longer. But nothing will change with the existing episodes that we have. We'll continue to have. We're so blessed, incredible guests. And so with that, I'm signing off. Thanks for joining me for our first solo episode. So fun.